Welcome to PMP Exam Questions Confidence Booster. This is designed specifically to build your confidence as you get ready for your PMP exam. I know some of you are in the early stages. Maybe you've just attended a 35-hour course and you want to see how much stuff you've retained and how you can get into the rhythm of the questions. So we'll take a look at questions. I'll give you a few seconds after I read them. Let's jump straight into the people domain first. People domain questions. Karen is a project manager on a large-scale health implementation project. One of her team members expresses concerns about unclear responsibilities. Which is the best course of action? A. Coach the team member in confidence to take the role. B. Hold a meeting to clarify roles and document them. C. Hold a team meeting to identify other team members with this problem. D. Ensure Maslow's pyramid and hierarchical structure is inherent in rewards and recognition mechanisms. All right, well, let's take a look at the options. And if you need more time, feel free to hit the pause button as I will reveal the answer. So using the process of elimination, there's certain things we do, like on the exam, you cancel the options that are not that great. A, coach the team member in confidence to take on the role. Now, whether that says coach them in private or whether this says give them coaching in how to be confident, this does not address the issue. The issue is unclear responsibilities. C, hold a team meeting to identify other team members with this problem is not solving the problem and is redundant. And D, ensure Maslow's pyramid and hierarchical structure is inherent and rewards and recognition mechanisms. That could be all well and good, but still this individual could end up being confused. So the best answer is B. Hold a meeting to clarify roles and document them. So when you clarify and document roles, ensuring that all team members understand their responsibility, you are promoting efficiency and reducing confusion. Let's go to the next one. Two team members, Sarah, the data analyst, and Michael, the product lead, repeatedly clash. Their heated exchange starts to veer into personal territory. With raised voices and pointed language, you sense the tension rising and a potential for the disagreement to derail the meeting's momentum and worse, damage team morale. What should you do first? A. Schedule a private meeting to understand the issues they are facing. B. Let them resolve it themselves to foster independence. C. Issue a formal warning and document the behavior. D. Immediately request the Human Resource Department to intervene and mediate immediately. All right, my friends, let's take a look at the options. Again, on the exam, you are expected to use the tools that you have when they make sense. And one of the tools that I advocate is the strikeout tool, just as I'm demonstrating now. So the first thing you would do is take a look at the options. A, schedule a private meeting to understand the issues they are facing. That doesn't sound like a bad option, but let's check the others. B, let them resolve it themselves to foster independence. So it says the heated exchange starts to veer into personal territory. So this is becoming problematic. This is likely to end up damaging team morale, as you can see in the last sentence. So you need to get in front of the conflict. Doing nothing is not the best course of action. Taking a look at C, issue a formal warning and document the behavior. That still does not help the matter. And D, requesting HR to intervene and mediate immediately. That's why they hired you, right? Because if you are the project manager on this project, which you should assume that you are, based on the ambiguity of the question, then your job is to get in front of this conflict and to understand, hey, what's going on? So the best answer, my friends, is A. I hope this is helping you boost your confidence and give you some hope as you prepare for the exam. Again, it's all about reading the question and then analyzing what is the best thing to do. And we are in the people domain. Number 3, you are the project manager on a large scale infrastructure implementation project. The project sponsor is unavailable for critical decisions. What is the best approach to maintain project momentum? A, pause the project until the sponsor is available. B, make decisions within the delegated authority limits. C, escalate the issue to senior management. D, consult the project team for a democratic decision. All right, so let's take a look at the options. Again, using the strikeout tool for the process of elimination. What is the main problem here? It says the project sponsor is not available for critical decisions. Using the process of elimination. A, pause the project. We're talking about the entire project, putting on pause? No, that's not a good idea. Let's see if there's something more sensible. B, make decisions within the delegated authority limits. So critical decisions need to be made. What do you have the authority to do within the governance specifications? Go to the point where you are allowed. Beyond that, you got to do something else. So B is not a bad thing to do, right? Because it's within your delegated authority. But let's take a look at C. C, escalate the issue to senior management. Now, it says project sponsor is unavailable, but you are the project manager. You can make some decisions within your delegated authority. To blanketly say escalate the issue is like a mother may I. It's like I don't have the authority. It's like being a crybaby in some way. And this is not how you are expected to think as a PMP. You can make some decisions within your delegated authority limits, even critical decisions. So don't let the fact that it says critical decisions throw you off. This is where you put on your leader hat. And in the absence of the project sponsor, if it is within your delegated authority, you make decisions. But the best thing to do is not to immediately escalate the issue. And D, consult the project team for a democratic decision. Again, you are the project manager. This is what you are meant to do. Make decisions within your delegated authority limits. So the best answer here is B. Everything else isn't bad, but it still boils down, when you chose D, still boils down to you being the PM. Remember, the PMI tell us that the one thing you cannot delegate is integration, right? And integration has to do with leadership, has to do with directing, it has to do with monitoring and controlling. So on the PMP exam, the options that say escalate or ask for permission, they are usually red herrings. So let this be a wake up for those of you who have not encountered such. Okay? So the answer is B, making decisions within delegated authority. It ensures continuity and demonstrates effective leadership and responsibility. Number 4, a key stakeholder expresses dissatisfaction with the project's progress at a review meeting. How should you handle this situation? A, justify the project team's efforts and challenge the stakeholders' view. B, acknowledge their concerns and revise the project plan to accommodate. C, arrange a one-on-one meeting to discuss and address their concerns in detail. D, suggest they communicate only through formal channels. Okay. Taking a look at the options and using the process of elimination. So it says dissatisfaction with progress. Justifying the project team's efforts and challenging the stakeholders' view sounds combative. This is not the best way to go, so we will cancel that. B, acknowledge their concerns. That's good, but it says revise the project plan to accommodate. Well, acknowledging their concerns is good, but you don't just revise a project management plan without further context and understanding. So B is not the best answer either. D, suggest they communicate only through formal channels. That is rigid and that is anti PMI right off the bat. So it seems like we're left with C. Arrange a one on one meeting to discuss and address their concerns in detail. And that would be the best option. Okay, let's move on. Number 5, you notice a decrease in team morale after announcing a project extension. What is the most effective way to boost morale? A, offer incentives for early completion of tasks. B, organize team building activities. C, increase the frequency of performance reviews. D, implement mandatory overtime. So when you think about Herzberg's hygiene factor, what comes to mind here? What is the motivator that will boost morale, and what is the hygiene factor? The hygiene factor is incentives. The real motivator could be other things, such as those activities to boost their morale that show worth, relevance, and importance. So when you think about Herzberg's two-factor theory, it becomes very evident that the monetary rewards and incentives are the hygiene factors. If you really want to boost morale, there should be something more long-lasting and intrinsic and meaning. So, using the process of elimination, offering incentives is not necessarily the best way to boost morale. If you take away incentives, it could demotivate, but increasing them under most circumstances does not. So you're left with B, C, and D. Increasing the frequency of performance reviews is not likely to do that. And D, mandatory overtime, sounds like more drudgery. Definitely not. So when you really boil it down, the best options you had were A and B. A is an illusion. It could work for some people depending on the circumstances, but the best option with the information that we have is to organize team building activities. This is where we boost the team's morale. Remember, it said team morale. This is not the morale of one singular individual. This is as a team. So if you're looking at the team as one organism, the best way is option B. All right, let's move on to the next one. So there's the rationale for option B. Let's go to number 6. A project team member from a different cultural background is misunderstood often by the team. What should you do to improve communication? A, provide cultural sensitivity training to the team. B, assign someone to translate for the team member. C, ignore the issue as it might resolve on its own. D, reassign the team member to another project. Give you some time to think about it. All right, let's take a look at the options. So, the best answer here, my friends, is A. Provide cultural sensitivity training to the team. It's one of the more obvious ones. The other options, assigning someone to translate, does not mean that the team will understand this individual's cultural background. And it doesn't seem to be a language issue. And that's why the question stresses cultural background, right? So, cultural sensitivity training could definitely help. B, assigning someone to translate, not necessarily. C, ignoring the issue. And again, you have to ask the question, how does it solve the problem? C clearly does not. Assigning them to a different project clearly does not. It just takes away one team member. So when you look at assigning someone to translate, how feasible does that sound? How many times have you seen that happen in the real world? Is that a sensible solution? And in instances where the solution sounds bogus and not realistic, I mean, to translate everything that people say in between themselves in a team, it just doesn't make sense. And that's why the best option here is A. Provide cultural sensitivity training to the team. All right, let's go to number 7. During a critical phase, you observe that the communication among team members has significantly reduced. What should you implement first? A. A stricter policy on communication. B. Scheduled daily stand up meetings. C. An open door policy for team concerns. D. Performance appraisals focusing on communication skills. All right. Well, let's take a look at the options. So, a stricter policy on communication sounds rather draconian. It's not necessarily going to go down well with the team. Remember, we're talking about team morale, team growth, the ability for the team to communicate transparently. B, schedule daily stand up meetings is not a bad option. That will definitely help the team to share information in a more streamlined and regular manner. C, an open door policy for team concerns is not going to help the communication among team members. And D, performance appraisals is not going to help communication among team members because that's our major issue. So the best option, my friends, is B. I hope these questions are helping you. Remember, this series in particular is designed to boost your confidence. For those of you that have been for training, you're trying to get into the swing of things. A lot of these are softball questions put in the context of the relevant domain to help you get back into the swing of things. All right. So I hope this helps you and serves as a kind of pick me up quiz so that you can leverage how you feel about these questions and go on to the more difficult questions, the more very technical questions. All right. So if you're enjoying it, smash the like button. Let's move on to the next one. Number 8. A project team member is consistently missing deadlines. What is the best immediate action? A. Assign another team member to share their workload. B. Discuss the issue with the team member to identify causes and solutions. C. Report the behavior to higher management for disciplinary action. D. Decrease their task assignments and responsibilities. All right, my friends, I hope you're getting quicker at this. The best answer here is B. Assigning another team member, which was A, does not help. Reporting the behavior to higher management for disciplinary action could get a more rebellious team member and someone whose heart isn't in the project anymore. And D, decreasing their task assignments and responsibilities is not necessarily going to help. They are consistently missing deadlines, so you need to identify cause and solutions, and that's why B is the best answer. Discussing the issue directly can help identify whether they are personal issues or resource constraints and allow for constructive feedback. Number 9, you receive feedback that meetings are too frequent and not productive. What is the most appropriate action? A. Increase the length of each meeting to cover more topics. B. Decrease the frequency and improve the agenda setting. C. Discontinue meetings and switch to email updates. And D. Ignore the feedback as meetings are mandatory. All right. So, taking a look at the options, increasing the length of the meeting, A, doesn't make sense, does it? The meetings are not productive. Why do you want to make them longer? B, decrease the frequency and improve the agenda setting. Doesn't sound like a bad idea. If there's an agenda, at least people know what to expect and they're likely to be more productive. C, discontinue meetings and switch to email updates. That does not solve the issue. The issue is meetings are too frequent, so make them less frequent and make them more productive. How do you do that? Option B, decrease the frequency and improve the agenda setting. D, ignore feedback, is not helpful. This is burying your head in the sand and ignoring concerns. All right. Okay, so the answer to that is B. Let's go to number 10. The project is running smoothly and you have a high-performing project assistant. How best to motivate and retain this assistant? A, recommend them for a higher position in the organization. B, offer a salary increase and bonus incentives. C, provide opportunities for professional development and training. D, increase their workload to match their skills. All right. This again is drawing on your understanding of the whole Maslow Herzberg idea. So you have A, higher positions, but do higher positions mean happiness, right? Not necessarily. And then B is another form of a hygiene factor, offer a salary increase and bonus incentives. Again, this is something that is a hygiene factor. Taking it away could be bad, but making it more is not necessarily going to motivate. So this is really testing you on the concept of motivation. The best answer to this is C. It's to provide opportunities. Increasing their workload to match their skills is not necessarily going to improve their motivation. Might depend on the individual, but the best answer is C. Offering professional development opportunities helps in retaining skilled employees by investing in their growth and satisfaction. Okay, we're almost at the point where we will take a break, but let's jump into a few more. John is a project manager at a large engineering firm working on a major infrastructure project. During a team meeting, two key engineers have a heated argument about the design approach. The conflict is escalating and causing disruption. What should the project manager do first? A, immediately refer to the team charter to understand how best to resolve conflict. B, ask both engineers to explain their perspectives and find common ground. C, use emotional intelligence to understand the source of the conflict and use a compromise strategy to make everyone agree. D, mentor both engineers from the project on anger management to eliminate the conflict. All right. So when you get long questions like this on the exam, of course, you have to read them first, but then you use the process of elimination to take out the useless options. So mentoring them on anger management is not your place. You're not an anger management expert. All right. C, use emotional intelligence to understand the source of the conflict is good, but it strictly says compromise strategy. Recommending a compromise strategy, which is compromise or reconcile, which is where someone concedes to the will of the other, is not the best option in this case. So we're left with A and B. Now, realistically speaking, the project manager should understand how conflict is meant to be resolved. Referring to the team charter to understand how best to resolve such conflict is not realistic. It sounds rather goofy as well. Asking the engineers to explain their perspective should actually come first before looking at how to resolve conflict of whatever nature it is. So the best option is B. Ask both engineers to explain their perspectives and find common ground. Understanding the root cause of the conflict and finding a resolution that satisfies both parties is key here. Next question. Jen is a project leader on a small hybrid project to develop a new drug. One of the team members constantly interrupts and undermines others during meetings, leading to frustration and reduced productivity among team members. What is the best course of action for the project manager now? Is it A, coach the team member to respect other people's points of view without directly mentioning the incident? B, reprimand the team member during the next meeting in the spirit of transparency on the team? C, address the behavior privately with the team member and set clear expectations? D, replace the team member with someone more cooperative? I'll give you some time to think about that. All right, well, let's take a look at what the possible answer could be. So, what is the problem here? One of the team members constantly interrupts and undermines. So, do you coach the team member to respect other people's point of view without mentioning the incident directly? That's not being transparent and not being honest. B, reprimand the team member during the next meeting. That doesn't make much sense in the spirit of keeping things confidential and not berating people in public. It's just poor leadership to do that, even though some people do. So we'll cancel A and B. Going over to the next one. C, address the behavior privately. That's key with the team member and set clear expectations. C is a more worthwhile option. And D, replace the team member with someone more cooperative. That again is not a solution to the problem at hand. So, over the past number of minutes, my friends, we've been taking a look at confidence booster questions. The idea of these questions are to help elevate those of you who are taking the exam, about to take the exam, or gearing up to get your mojo back. Because when you go for a live class and you don't work on questions immediately, you tend to lose steam and forget. So I put these together to be somewhat softball questions with a little bit of thinking, but not so much technical heavy thinking. Again, these are from the people domain. Remember that? So the main goal for our study today is to get you into the groove, more into the groove. And then in my other videos, my 200 question video, my 250 question video, those will give you a lot more difficult, tough, technical kind of questions. Okay? So I hope this is helping you. If it is helping you, do smash the like button. Our goal is to get to 15 questions for today, and then we'll be done and dusted. So let's go to the next one. Okay. So this is question 13. And let's read it together. Jimmy is a project manager on a small Agile project using Scrum to develop a software application. The team is diverse, with varying levels of experience and cultural backgrounds. He notices that some team members feel left out of decision-making processes. What should the project manager do first to support diversity and inclusion? Is it A, assign tasks based solely on seniority to ensure older team members feel respected? B, increase the involvement of junior team members in decision making? C, continue with the current process to avoid disrupting the workflow. Or D, hold a workshop on cultural sensitivity and inclusive decision making. Give you some time to think about it. All right, my friends. Well, let's rationalize. So, if this is an ongoing issue in a team, how best should one handle it? Should one handle it by just making more people speak during meetings and demanding that they speak, or almost as it were, force them to speak? Or is it better to expose them to the logic and the rationale behind decision making and cultural sensitivity? Because it says the team is diverse with varying levels of experience and cultural backgrounds. So, this is something that should be addressed at the team level. So, taking a look at the options, assigning tasks based on seniority, no, you're not going to help inclusion because the junior employees are going to feel not valued and not respected. B, increase the involvement of junior team members in decision making. Now, that's not bad, but how? By making them speak, by ensuring that they give more. Well, while that sounds good and well meaning, you got to get down to the root. And this doesn't tackle the root. Continuing with the current process does not address the issue. So you're left with D, holding a workshop on cultural sensitivity and inclusive decision making. And this is going to get the team talking, is going to get the synergies going, and it is going to end up being of value to the entire team. So the best answer here, my friends, is D. Holding a workshop on cultural sensitivity and inclusive decision making helps foster an environment where all team members feel valued and included, improving overall team collaboration and morale. Let's go to the next one. Number 14. Maria a is leading a cross-functional project team at a tech startup. She wants to inspire, motivate, and influence her team to achieve their project goals despite tight deadlines and high pressure. What is the best action for the project manager to take? Is it A, implement a strict rule for extended work hours? Is it B, focus solely on meeting deadlines and occasionally on team morale? C, set clear achievable goals and recognize team achievements regularly. D, set challenging stretch goals for the team to grow and expand to greater heights. Give you some time to think about it. All right, my friends. So let's take a look. Maria wants to inspire, motivate, and influence a team. So, again, implementing strict rules for work hours, it's not the best way to inspire, motivate, and influence the team. Focusing solely on meeting deadlines and occasionally on team morale, it does not help. It might help a little bit, but not to the degree that we would like. C, set clear achievable goals and recognize team achievements regularly. Recognition goes a long way when it comes to motivating and inspiring and influencing. So C is not bad. D, set challenging stretch goals for the team to grow and expand to greater heights. So challenging stretch goals. Stretch goals are not bad. But let's read a little bit more. She wants to inspire, motivate, and influence a team to achieve their project goals despite tight deadlines. So when we talk about stretch goals really stretch the individual to the ends of their prowess and ability. And stretch goals don't happen overnight. So while D sounds like a good idea, they may not be achievable within the tight deadline that we're looking at. And besides, we are focusing more on project goals, not stretch goals. So the best answer here is C, set clearly achievable goals and recognize team achievements. When you do this, it helps inspire and motivate the team, maintaining high morale and productivity. Let's take a look at number 15 and then we'll take a break at that point. Tom is managing a marketing campaign project and notices that one of his team members consistently underperforms and misses key performance indicators, KPIs. What is the first step the project manager should take to address this issue? A. Discuss the performance issues privately with a team member to understand the root cause. B. Conduct a survey to understand challenges everyone is facing causing the underperformance. C. Ignore the issue and be confident that the team member improves on their own or through peer pressure. D. Immediately replace the team member with a higher performer. I'll give you some time to think about this. All right. So, what we're seeing here is a team member that is missing KPIs. It's not the entire team, it's just one team member. And you can see that from the underlines here. One of his team members. So this isn't something we are going to do publicly, right? So A is not a bad option. Discuss the performance issues. B, conducting a survey to understand challenges other people are facing is not a bad thing, but it's not going to solve the problem and it's not the first thing we do. C, ignore the issue. It's not going to help ignoring the issue. We got to address the issue, right? And that's in the spirit of the PMI with transparency and leadership. And D, immediately replace the team member with a higher performer. That still leaves the initial team member in a lurch and it doesn't solve the problem. Okay, we're not just going to go pull someone else in. We are going to likely want to help that team member. So the best option is A, discuss the performance issues privately with the team member to understand the root cause. That is the best course of action. Now, we are at the point where we are going to take a break, but when we come back, we will continue. And just remember what our goal is. Our goal isn't to take on the big, hairy, audacious technical questions today. Our goal is actually to get our arms around the question, ease back into it. It's like you've been out of work for a while and you need to ease back into it. Well, that's the general idea for us to be able to do that, for us to feel not threatened by the questions, because you do know that some of these questions are pretty aggressive. And before tackling the more aggressive questions, the intent is for you to feel just a little bit more comfortable with these ones. I call them softballs, but they're still up there with, I would say, the easier range on the exam. It is possible to get some questions not as threatening as, twice as hard. So this level is actually good to get into the swing of it. And then in my other videos, I crank it up a whole lot. So you want to look for my knowledge area quizzes on the channel, on the @PRAIZION channel. And you also want to look for my 200 questions that are based more on hybrid and general. Okay, so let's take a break. And then when we come back, we'll continue. Welcome back from break. Question 16. Sarah is leading a product development project and wants to support the growth and development of her team members. What is the best approach for the project manager to take? A. Create a work performance report showing the growth of team members and stakeholders on the project. B. Rotate team members frequently to expose them to different tasks. C. Provide opportunities for professional development and training. And D. Focus only on project tasks and ignore team development. I'll give you time to think about the answer. All right, let's take a look at the options. So, whenever you get a question, always address what the question is asking. Here it says, wants to support the growth and development. So, what is the best way to do it? The best way to support the growth and development of the team is to expose them to avenues to grow more. It's not necessarily in compiling reports to show people how they have grown, if you get what I mean. So while A sounds good, it's not going to help because you want to support the growth and development. Reporting on it is not necessarily supporting it, if that makes sense. So A does sound good, but it ain't. B, rotate team members frequently to expose them to different tasks. That's one way you can develop the team. That is one way you can support growth, but it is not the best option. There's a better option, and it's option C. The opportunities for professional development and training will also include B. D is outrightly wrong to focus only on project tasks and ignore team development. So the best answer here, my friends, is C. Came close to between the first one, A, and C, but C is the best. Providing opportunities for professional development and training supports team members' growth and development, enhancing their skills and contributing to the project success. This option could include rotating team members too. And you want to be aware of that on the PMP exam. When you have a question and the question is showing you a couple of options, and one option is implicitly included in the other, you want to pay close attention. That's one of the cheap tricks, giving you two options where one is better because it includes the other. So just keep your eye on those kinds of things on the exam, which means reading very quickly and effectively as well. Let's go to the next one. Number 17. Alex is a project manager at an IT firm, leading a team to develop a new software application. He wants to empower his team by bestowing decision-making authority. What is the best action for the project manager to take? A. Delegate all decision-making authority to the team in order to uphold the Agile Manifesto values on autonomy. B. Assign decision-making authority based on team members' strength and expertise. C. Retain all decision-making authority to maintain control. D. Avoid assigning any decision-making authority to prevent mistakes. I'll give you some time to think about the best answer. All right. Well, that was a fair amount of time. So let's take a look. So, what is Alex trying to do? Empower the team by bestowing decision making authority. In other words, let them make some decisions. Taking a look at the options here, some are not that good. And immediately, you want to remove those that don't make sense. Avoid assigning any decision making authority. We can immediately get rid of D. That is not a good option. C, retain all decision making authority to maintain control, is similar to D. So again, that has got to go. You got two left. Delegate all decision making authority to the team. That word all is quite powerful. Quite powerful. So you want to empower the team, but you don't want to throw away your responsibilities and accountabilities as well. So, delegating all decision making authority to the team in order to uphold the Agile Manifesto, based on the question that's given, this sounds pretty reckless. And because it says a project manager at an IT firm leading a team to develop a new software application, he wants to empower his team, which tells me that this is either new or ongoing. It wouldn't be wise to do this right off the bat. You want to grow into A. A is not bad, especially in an agile environment, but where it mentions a project manager and it says he wants to, he has to grow into giving them a whole lot of decision making authority. Even in the world of agile, in organizations, while the team has a ton of authority, they may not have all decision making authority. You see, think about it. The product owner has decision making authority, right? The developers have some decision making authority. But all is a big word, especially in the context of, at best, a hybrid environment, especially since the project manager has been mentioned. So the best option within reason is B, assign decision-making authority based on team members' strength and expertise. Assigning decision-making authority based on team members' strength and expertise empowers them to take ownership and make informed decisions, enhancing their engagement and performance. Let's take a look at the next one, my friends, going over to question 18. Emily is managing a construction project and wants to ensure her team demonstrates task accountability. She notices that some tasks are being delayed due to a lack of accountability. What is the best course of action for the project manager now? A, use Maslow's Theory X approach to ensure the team is aligned. B, implement a system for tracking task ownership and progress. C, train the team on how to stay on budget and track tasks individually. D, reassign tasks to those who are more reliable. I'll give you some time to think about it. All right, so let's take a look at question 18 under the hood. A, use Maslow's Theory X is a bit of a draconian approach, so we wouldn't do that. B, implement a system for tracking task ownership and progress. That sounds more plausible. C, train the team on how to stay on budget and track tasks individually. The problem isn't staying on budget. That sounds like a red herring. And tracking tasks individually doesn't seem to be as effective as implementing a system. They may be able to track tasks, but they may have a poor system. So C is not better than B. And D, reassign tasks to those who are more reliable. That's not helping the issue. The team needs help in this regard. So the best option is B for this question. All right, so the answer is B, and let's move on to question 19. Michael is leading a project to deploy a new ERP system. He realizes that his team lacks the necessary competencies to use the new system effectively. What should the project manager do first? And he's obviously the project manager. A, implement a job shadowing process for the team to learn and proceed with the project and hope the team learns on the job. B, replace the current team with more experienced professionals. C, delay the project indefinitely until the team is ready. And D, identify the specific training needs and arrange for appropriate training sessions. All right, my friends, again, let's use the process of elimination. So, what is the problem? They don't have the competencies. How best do we equip them is the question. So, for Michael to effectively equip the team, let's look for some red herrings that are not good options. Replacing the team is not a good option. The team doesn't have the skills, but we don't just ditch the team. That doesn't make sense. C, delay the project indefinitely. Again, not in the project manager's power. There could be deadlines. And two, doesn't make sense. So we're faced with A or D. Job shadowing is not bad, right? But it says hope that the team learns on the job. So that shows some elements of uncertainty and doubt. We need to have an answer that actually works. So, identifying the specific training needs and arranging for appropriate training sessions is the best answer because D could include A. So, A on its own is not the best answer, but remember, D could include A. So, the rationale identifying specific training needs and arranging for appropriate training sessions ensures that the team is equipped with the necessary skills to effectively use the new ERP system. All right, we have one more question before we go to the money spinner, and it's number 20. Anna is managing a hybrid project to develop a new healthcare application. She needs to allocate resources for training her team members on the latest medical compliance standards. What should the project manager do next? Is it A, attend the most affordable training and team building event to save cost and resources? B, allocate sufficient budget and time for the necessary training? C, assume the team will learn the standards as they work on the project? D, manage the team using organizational theories and situational leadership? I'll give you some time to think about it. All right. Well, taking a look at these, we can tell some of these are red herrings. They have very little to do with the problem at hand. So she needs to allocate resources for training. That's really what's at stake here. And she needs the training to be on the latest medical compliance standards. So, what is not going to help her with this? Well, organizational theories and situational leadership is great, but that does not help her in getting training for the team. So we can cancel that. Assuming the team will learn the standards is presumptuous, not a good option. Now you got A or B. A, attend the most affordable training and team building event to save cost and resources. Well, the most affordable versus the most effective are two different things. So A is already not looking good, but let's check B. Allocate sufficient budget and time for the necessary training sessions, not cutting corners. So A is not as good as B. B is the better option. And this is also in line with the PMP exam content outline, which is why I highly recommend that you read the PMP exam content outline before your exam. All right, my friends, over the past 50 minutes thereabouts, we've been taking a look at these confidence builders. I call them confidence builders. And it's very important for us, especially in the early stages of PMP, to have confidence builders to get us into that world of more difficult questions. I have over 450 very harder questions on the Praizion channel. Very much harder than this that you can take if you want. But for those of you who are just getting into it, I don't want to give you all the hardball questions. These are some softball questions, and I think these will really help you as you prepare for your exam. Okay, so I hope you're enjoying it. If you have enjoyed it so far, smash the like button. Got any questions? Put the questions in the chat, and I will tackle the questions as soon as possible. Again, remember that you can follow me on LinkedIn, look for my information. I am on LinkedIn and I go live on LinkedIn quite frequently. I have many past lives on LinkedIn that you might want to check out. So just look for me and you will find me over there. Okay. And if you're getting ready for the PMP exam, you can always go to the tinyurl.com/elite PMP. I have mentioned that quite a few times today, and I haven't shown it to you. So I should probably show this to you. So let me show you where you can get this information. Here it is. Because I know some of you are already subscribed on Udemy, and you might be taking a course that is not really working for you. So going down to tinyurl.com/elite PMP. My buddy Roy is my co-trainer on this, and you'll be able to join a course that gives you a whole lot of substance. Well, now that we're done with that, we have done 20 confidence builders. Let's go to the money spinners now. And when I say money spinner, I mean it offers a lot of value to you to be able to take some questions that are pretty aggressive, very fast, and it doesn't give you a whole lot of time. It really tests your thinking. So the very first part of this program is to ensure that you are able to look at questions, rationalize. I give you quite a lot of time, but these not as much time because I'm trying to get you to read quick, and the time I give you is on par with the question difficulty. Okay, so are you ready? Let's jump in to some of the money spinner questions. Okay, again, very quick. And if you do need more time, though, you can hit the pause button. But I want you to get into the swing of answering questions really quick. All right. So these are not from the people domain. These are all over the place. So here's your first question. You are a project manager on a hybrid project using a predominantly agile approach and in the process of decomposing work to be done. Which of the following is the largest size? Is it epic, feature, task, or story? All right, time up. I gave you a little bit more time for that first one. The answer to this is epic. That is the highest level in the world of Agile. Some organizations may use these interchangeably, but for the most part, majority of people will tell you epic means great big one. It's a great big user story. Let's move on. You are in the process of establishing how to build a schedule, the policies, procedures, and documentation for planning, developing, managing, executing, and controlling the project schedule. Which result do you expect to receive from this process? All right, time up. The answer to this, my friends, using the process of elimination, because you will eliminate the project schedule itself and the schedule baseline and the schedule forecasts. The best answer is C. The trick is it says you're in the process of establishing how to build a schedule. It cannot be the schedule and it cannot be the baseline. It's the how, the development approach, which really means the schedule management plan, for lack of a better word. Okay, let's move to our next question. You are linking tasks on a project to define the logical sequence of work to obtain the greatest efficiency given all project constraints. Which schedule relationship type would you expect to use the least? Is it A, start to start, B, finish to finish, C, start to finish, or D, finish to start? Okay. The answer to this, least, the answer is start to finish. It is rarely used compared to the others. Here's your next question. You are just about to begin scheduling. Your project sponsor demands that you use a more agile approach. She wants you to use Kanban. Which of the following is not a reason for using a Kanban flow based approach? A. Focus on continuous delivery. B. Increase productivity and quality. C. Flexibility. D. Adherence to a regular cadence. All right, time up. The best answer to this one, my friends, is D. Kanban does not adhere to regular cadence, and that's why we call it flow based. It depends on the flow of work. And you can find this in the Agile Practice Guide. If you have not done some work in the Agile Practice Guide, I would highly recommend reading it before your exam. Next question. You are working on an Agile project and your customer is looking forward to approving the final deliverable. You need to perform frequent incorporation of ongoing work into the whole product and then retest to determine that the entire product still works as intended. Which of the following XP practices should you do to satisfy this need? A. Continuous integration. B. Code refactoring. C. Spiking. D. Technical debt management, TDM. All right, my friends, your time is up. The best answer is A. It's continuous integration. Continuous integration is all about performing frequent incorporation of work into the whole, no matter the product, and then retesting to determine that the entire product still works. Now, code refactoring is tweaking up the code. Spiking is doing the research work that you need before you work on a story, or perhaps in the middle you're stuck and you need to go off and do some additional work to free up the story to move or to free up your knowledge banks and your understanding. But that is not the same as continuous integration, which is the best answer. TDM is a made up term, and on your exam, you're likely to get made up terms as well. Next question. You're working on an agile project with team members. Your customer is looking forward to approving the final deliverable. Which of the following should you do first as a project manager? A. First, conduct a retrospective before the final deliverable is inspected. B. Ensure that customer acceptance occurs before refactoring takes place. C. First, deliver the product release before the minimum viable product. D. First, define the definition of done to enable proper deliverable acceptance. Time up. The best answer, my friends, is D. Definition of done. It's the team's checklist of all the criteria that must be met so a deliverable can be considered ready for customer use. We have just a few more questions today, my friends, so let's move on to the very next one. Your firm has been awarded a project to design ways to harness a clean energy source. Midway in the project, there's a huge spike in labor cost as project engineers have demanded more pay. Why is it likely that the engineers could still leave the project? You might recognize this from a previous encounter. All right, the best answer is A. The answer is A because all the others do not either make sense or are not realistic reasons. So, salary is not a motivator, it's a hygiene factor. So, B is wrong. So, if I were you and I was doing this on the exam, again, I would use the strikeout to cancel B. The work is too challenging. That's not why they could leave the project because it said they could demand more pay, right? And money is not a demotivator. It's the absence of the salary that could be a demotivator. We talked about this on a previous episode, and the best answer is A. One more question, and we're going to be done. All right. Here we go. In your project, some equipment is to be shipped from another country by sea. The sea route is likely to encounter a storm during the shipment period, which could cause a delay of about 10 days. You identify that not having the equipment on site as scheduled could delay your project by about 2 months. It is therefore necessary to plan an alternate solution. You arrange with a company that has the same equipment to lease it pending the time your own equipment reaches your site in case of shipment delays. This is an example of which risk management process. Again, you might have encountered this in a previous episode. All right, hit the pause button if you need more time. My friends, this is clearly implementing a risk response. And therefore, the best answer is B. You have implemented a risk response to deal with an identified risk. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed these questions. I hope they are building your confidence. Remember, it's not about getting every question right. It's about understanding why you got them right or why you got them wrong. So I would advise you to go over these a few times. If you're a newbie and the language is new, the more you go over it, the better it is going to stick. And after doing this a number of times, you'll be able to move on to the next level. So if you're wondering, well, what can I do to move on to the next level? I wanted to give you an idea of where you can get a pool of questions that test you on each task for the PMP exam. I mean, task 1 all the way to 14 in people, task 1 all the way to 17 in process, and task 1 all the way to 4 in business, giving you 35 quizzes. The place to go for that is pmpdoctor.com. Let's put that on the screen. On pmpdoctor.com, you get access to 35 mock tests for each PMP exam task, and you also get 2 final mock exams and other tests that will help build your confidence. I've been doing this for the past 19 plus years and helped many people across the world to get certified, everyone from the US Air Force and the US Army students to the NASA students, FBI, and many other reputable firms. And this is the content that they have used to amp up their game and get to perfection. Okay, so if you are in need of a course and in need of help as you prepare for the exam, because I know it could be a very lonely road and you may not have connected with other training solutions you found. If that sounds like you, 2 things: going down to tinyurl.com/elite PMP, and that will get you on my Udemy course. And then to really go into questions and take questions daily, like we have 35 quizzes, 1 for each task, 2 final mock exams and other tests, then it's pmpdoctor.com. If you have any questions as you're getting ready for your exam, please ask them. Again, thank you very much for joining me. If you found value from this, smash the like button, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. The next episode, we'll probably be doing a little bit more from the more difficult hybrid end, and I look forward to seeing you then. Take care, and bye for now.